this episode of the Whiteboard Game, the boys discuss their 2024 categories.
Mwah, mwah. Welcome, Valentine's Day. What a time.
Didn't like that.
Well, it's staying in. What a time to announce, to welcome you to Series 2 of the Whiteboard Game. With love, more love than usual on this day, from Idio Twin to you. How are you doing? Long time no see. Why won't you return my calls? Once again, we are joined by me, but by myself, Frederick, and the ephemeral, the charming, the witty.
None of those things. But my name is Chris.
His name is Chris. I think you're all of those. Anyway, ephemeral is probably the hardest one to nail down.
I don't even know what that word means.
You move in mysterious ways. But yes, this is Series 2. Of the Whiteboard Game. You got through a whole series. Congratulations. Will Series 2 bring anything new? Well, we're always open to suggestions, as we've said. If you have any ideas for games, we'll introduce them in the series. Maybe we'll get some guests in. That could be fun. We are constantly trying to make it better. We are here for... Not that it was ever bad. It was always good. It was always great. But, you know, Series 2, we're on a roll. How do you feel about a second series being underway, Chris?
I'm excited. It's a fun time. We have some fun things planned. We may change the format up a little bit because we have discussed maybe splitting these episodes in half if it might be easier to digest for people. But that's not something we've decided on yet. So I'm sure if that does end up happening, you'll have a nice crude cut off halfway through the game, and then you can open up the next one if you're not someone who fears 2-hour-long podcasts.
No, it's I like to imagine that you will now search for when one of us is about to say something really poignant, like a moment where, no, and I really like this song because, you know, if there was ever going to be a thing to make someone listen to the second part, it would be something like that.
Yeah. Not a bad idea.
But yes, just briefly, how have you been?
I've been all right. I've been fine. It's been a good start to the year, bar some technical difficulties.
Actually, we have had quite a few technical difficulties this year. We
recorded the first episode of this series a month ago and had some technical issues when we were recording. My recording software froze, and so we basically just had Fred's audio to work off, which isn't too bad. But I think when there's two people, it's a bit like, you know, one person's amplified and one person you're hearing in the distance. It doesn't make for a great podcast. No. Because it was the start, we were like, we want to start high. We don't want to start with a massive blunder.
Of course.
So we're doing it now, and we're doing it better. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that all goes well this time. We also had a setback in the original music front. I've been switching over to a proper PC so that it has good processing power, because I was making beats that were slightly too fat and so my laptop couldn't handle it. And in the process of doing that, I ended up losing some recordings, which is frustrating. All rectified now, but of course at the time it's always going to be frustrating and upsetting. But we managed to channel that into some motivation and some discipline. Yes. And we just did a really good job at getting it all done.
I don't think we've ever worked so quickly, actually. It was quite impressive. But hang on, wait a minute, Chris. Wait a minute. Slow down. Why are you talking so much about recording things at all? What are you suggesting?
Well, I'm not sure if you've been living under a rock, but really rude, your favourite band, Idio Twin...
That is my favourite band.
Is close to releasing their debut album.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
The one you've been waiting for.
Oh my God.
Every time you get reminded that we exist.
Yes, I am blushing. Wow. When might that come out?
It will definitely come out, unless something catastrophic happens. on the 21st of March.
21st of March.
Yeah, this year.
Okay.
Not next year. Yeah, this year. So you've only got a bit over a month. What? I've got to get cracking with the mixes.
That's
What?
insane. When you actually look at the thing, that's insane. I can confirm, and we will go about doing this now, and this is a bit of an awkward way of doing it because it's the first time I'm confirming this with you in real life as well, that it will be streamed live on YouTube that evening of the 21st. So if you're into feeling like you're the first at something, it's always a nice feeling, be on that stream.
Yeah.
Be there. We've worked very hard on it. We're very proud of it. What could I do to briefly describe it? I think it's very varied in a good way. Thematically, a lot of stuff about aging in there, which I think we can all relate to. But moreover, most importantly, I think it's great. So that's why you should listen to it. I just think it's really good because we've worked hard on it. And yeah, listen to it to save the rescue effort from... Listen to it to help the rescue effort to save us from drowning. Yes, there you go.
Please do, yeah. And throughout the listening party, we'll call it, on YouTube, we pop in the chat, drop in some...
Little tidbits about each track, maybe, stuff like that.
Just having a good old time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll get some enjoyment out of the promotory stuff that we upload. We've got a few things planned.
Yeah, we do.
It's an exciting time to be an Idio fan, 100%.
It probably the most exciting time to be an Idio Twin.
So if there were ever a better time to get into Idio Twin, now is that time.
But you've finally got new content as well to look forward to. This is like having played the Stanley Parable all those years ago, and then suddenly you get this announcement that there's a Stanley Parable Deluxe, and you wet yourself. What a time. But otherwise, it's been a very good year thus far for Idio Twin. Otherwise, we've had 2 gigs.
I think so.
What's
3
that?
gigs.
3 gigs,
yeah.
Gosh.
We've been busy.
What, Lucky Pig was one, was it? Or was it last year?
Lucky Pig, yeah, we did one at the Spice.
Yeah.
And we had one at the biggest place we've played at.
Yes.
The O2 Academy in Islington.
Which was cool. Difficult to get into. Difficult to find the right door. But a really nice space. And I think we sounded really good as well. And we met some cool people. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. It was a good space. We have got 4 gigs coming up, have we?
On the horizon somewhere.
So, the 22nd of February. This may be out after this, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, if it has gone, you've missed us performing at the Spice of Life, but that's okay because on the 16th of March we're performing at the Spice of Life, and then we spread our wings a bit and go to the Cargo Rooms in Tottenham on the 27th of March, which will be our first gig post album release. So that could be a bit fun. But if you want a big party with the album release, 26th of April, is it?
Sometime in April.
Late April. You'll find out if you check the social media. We're going to the Spice of Life for a big gig release party. I think I say may, but I'd like to think it's likely that we may try and actually work on some songs from the album we haven't played before.
Oh yeah,
to actually play them at this space. To actually make it feel like an album release thing. So as we've said, very exciting year for Idio Twin currently. Has been, continues to be. Long may it continue. Long may you be there to enjoy it with us. I think that's all the preamble.
I think so.
Let me just, as we're starting a new series, let me remind everyone of how this works. So the Whiteboard Game is a game that Chris and I, we encountered while studying music at school, and we have since transformed it into an online version. Whereby we send extracts to each other, listen to them, and then now we talk about them. We do it in person. The way it works is we do 10 extracts each, sort of between 30 seconds and a minute long. For those extracts, the listener has to guess who did it, what it's called, when, and there's some leeway. We're not sticklers. The genre, or genres, perhaps. And sometimes there's a 5th category. This game does have a fifth category because it is about summarising our respective listening experiences of 2024. And we've done that by giving each other 10 different categories that we've used for our respective extracts. And we also have to guess which one is which category. So, for instance, when Chris told me his categories, he said one of them was his favourite songs from the last year. So I have to listen to the 10 extracts he gives me and figure out which of those might have been one of his favourite songs from 2024. I think it's a very good way to start a second series, a summary of the last year.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the winner, not that it's really about winning, it's about sharing music, but the winner will be whoever has the most points after we've, cross-examined each other's answers, which we're about to do now. So, without further ado, let's get jiggy. Wait, whoa, pause. Valentine's Day.
I know it's Valentine's Day, but come on.
I hope you're having a lovely Valentine's Day. In many ways, I hope that what you're doing on Valentine's Day is not making a podcast. I hope you're spending it with someone else, which we are technically. But who goes first this time?
I think I went first last time, so
I will guess first. So
mine, yes.
Let's open up the document. So, right, I should have really organised this beforehand, but we're doing it now. It's fine. So, this was a bit funky. Your first one. A bit fresh, but I didn't necessarily recognise who it was. So I went for the kind of person I thought it could be, which was Daniel Caesar. I thought it was called Since I Found You. He's a modern man, Daniel Caesar. So I said 2022. I said neo-funk or neo-soul. That's got to be a thing. And I thought that maybe this is one of the categories you suggested. A song you heard in the wild, as you put it.
I will give you 1 point.
Oh, good start. Second series.
It's a combination of two things that you were close with.
Okay.
It's by a band, probably a band you haven't heard of. They're
that's fair.
Not massively popular. I think this was their biggest hit. By a band called Fatback Band.
Fatback
Band. Bit of a tongue twister. The song is called I Found Lovin'. Eloquent for a day like today. I put funk/R&B. I combined your 2 points, your 1 point through those two answers.
Okay, cool.
Through the title and the genre.
I'll accept that.
Which you were both close with, but not enough for me to feel like I should give you a point for each. 1983 is when it came out, back in the heyday of funk. And this was a song I didn't get the chance to talk about. This is a category that I've used for this. You'll probably find that there's a few that, as me and Fred have said already today, are a bit wet.
Yeah, a bit arbitrary.
A little bit wishy-washy, and they're mainly used just so that we can talk about something that we listened to last year, because I guess...
That's the point of this game.
Yeah, exactly. That's at the heart of it, and so we make the rules.
That's one of the only negatives of this game, is that if there's ever a point that you think, oh, how have they gotten away with that? We made this. We're in charge.
So why don't I get a chance to talk about it? Well, I don't really know why, but I'm talking about it now because it was a song I heard. I can't get
in
my
the
words.
wild.
Can't get my words right. I heard it at a family wedding.
If that's not in the wild, I don't know what is.
It was a close family wedding. It was an aunt. It was a nice wedding. Nice venue. It was like a barn sort of thing, which I found quite amusing because they're both like very much sort of Londoners, like South Londoners. But it was a nice venue. I'm not complaining. I do enjoy my my country. That was the end of that sentence.
Yeah. Nationalist.
So yeah, I was in the toilets when this came on, and I was like, "Whoa, this is a bit bopping." This was by the time that everyone had sort of like all the wedding stuff had happened and everyone was on the dance floor.
Yes.
Except me. I was chilling by the bar, not trying not to look anyone in the eyes. And this song came on, and I was like, "This is really cool. I really like this. Really caught my ear." And I think it caught my ear because at points it almost sounds sampled. It's quite sort of like not jarring, but things come in and they feel like they're repeated. It's mainly the bass, I think.
Yeah.
Don't know how to describe it, but I also thought it sounds like it would make a really good sample. And I looked on a shout out to Who Sampled, website that can tell you who sampled different things. And I don't think there's a lot of big songs that have sampled it, which I found quite interesting because
it's your time to shine. Is what you're saying.
It would make makes a good sample. There's got to be some recessed Telepath album that's got this as a sample on there somewhere.
Yes.
But
the Telepath discography, the Vaporwave producer, Luke Lorilla, I think. I'm not sure.
He's, to my understanding, he stays very elusive. So.
Very elusive, but the amount of music is stupid. There's so much.
But anyways, yeah. That's as much as I got to say about that. It's a good song. Give it a look up. It was in my recent faves playlist.
There you go.
For quite a while. It's fun.
Yeah. It did sound fun. I think that's a good word to use. It did sound fun.
There you go.
Fatback band. Big back band.
Indeed. So your first one, when you when I listened to these, you told me to not turn it up loud because there was a bit of a jump scare in the middle.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I felt like this was a shoegazy sort of song. Mm-hmm. It felt sort of shoegazy. It reminded me quite a bit of Fenez. It's an album by him I like called Venice, that I often dub noise ambient.
Noise ambient is,
And this sort of reminded me of that. And I was trying to sort of think, I don't really have a good answer to put for who it is.
Okay.
So I tried to put who I think is the closest to this sound of shoegaze. And I ended up putting My Bloody Valentine. Because I thought it's a bit harsh for Slow Dive, I feel.
Yeah.
And those would have been the two bands I'd have probably put. So it was called Harsh Waves. As I say, Shoegaze 2010, because I know that they had another release around that time,
They did.
I think. And I thought, well, maybe that would coincide with it being an album that you were disappointed by.
Now, in Series 2, do I want to set a precedent for half points? Do I want to do that? But at the same time, do I want to open Series 2 with me getting 1 point and you getting a donut? Which is the stronger feeling?
Stars we mean to go on.
Which is a stronger feeling?
I'm going to stay out of this one.
I don't think it is shoegaze. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give you a donut. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
In the same way that I had a moment when you said I heard this song at a wedding and I thought that's got to be in the wild. I think this one could arguably be about 4 different categories. One of them is definitely not biggest disappointment though.
Okay.
So this is by a producer that goes by the name of Cementation Anxiety. It's called Mirage Beside. Last year, 2024. Dark ambient drone. This is one of the most obscure. Now, we had the EP reviewed by a lovely chap called Duncan Reviews last year, who is probably my favourite music account out there. I think he's great because the amount of music he gets through is amazing as well. And he was taking commissioned reviews out of nowhere. And I thought, we've got to jump on that because I love this guy. And he gave us 4 out of 5, which is a good Duncan score. And I was very happy and very proud. Thank you, Duncan.
Appreciate that.
He's still going strong as well. What a guy. I mean, 3 reviews a day is ridiculous. This was one of the other ones he reviewed. And I think the reason why I felt like I had to listen to it, is because I think the average score he gave he's given so far on the commission reviews, I'd say is probably like 3.5.
Oh, okay.
I think he's only given about 2 4.5 and nothing higher. This is one of the 4.5.
Cool.
And so I saw this and I went, I got to listen. It's quite good. It is quite good. Would I rather listen to the Idiot Twin EP? I don't know. But no, it is a good listen. Very dark. It's from an album called Agnosia Rain. Agnosia is, I understand it as being the umbrella term for a set few mental conditions, mental ailments, whereby your senses seem to function completely normally. There's, like, on analysis, nothing wrong with you, but for some reason, one of your senses is faulty, which is a really weird way of explaining it. The best way to put it is to give an example. I can't remember the exact kind of agnosia it is, the exact word for it, but there is a kind where, for some reason, your sight perception just doesn't work properly. And you get very infamous examples that sound like jokes, but they're real. And there's a book, which I think then later became a play, called The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat.
Oh.
To the point that I think he just went to leave the house and he walked up to what he thought was a hat on a stand. And what he was actually trying to do was take his wife's head off. But he just couldn't tell. He thought it was a hat. And so you perform analysis on someone suffering with this and you can't find any issue with their brain or anything.
Oh.
But it's just that there's something wrong with one of their senses. And it is one of the most insane things I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I'm hearing it now, and that's crazy.
It's a kind of thing that you discover, and it makes you go, maybe I do want to be a psychologist, just so I can research this one thing.
Yeah,
because what an incredible thing! Obviously, how awful, but just that the mind can do things like that is unfathomable. And what I would say is this album does a pretty good job of capturing the fear of not being able to recognise your surroundings and not knowing why.
Yeah.
I'm glad I warned you about the jump scare. I've never been jump scared in music before. This is the only time in my memory that has happened to me. I've listened to scary music, but never something that's actively made me jump.
Yeah.
I was walking home after having a haircut from my auntie, and I was walking down the street to my house, and it got to this bit, and I went, in public. So fair play, cementation anxiety. You did me. I'm afraid it is a donut, Chris. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But there you go.
That's fine. So I had a moment there where I realised that one of my answers is probably someone else, and I'm not going to change it now because I feel like that'd be wrong.
Well, you haven't given your answer. I'll let you decide.
But it's based on what you've said has made me want to change it, and I think that's wrong. So I'm not going to do that.
Okay, well, I'll leave it to you. I'm
not going to do that. I'm not a wrong un.
Well, no, you're very noble. For you,
make reference to it when it happens,
cool.
But I will not change it.
Okay. For your second one, I've gone for, I think the way I put it when I was listening to it was, which one of the bands that Chris simped for last year is this? And I think this is your Side of the Road boys, your Pavement boys.
Yeah.
He said Shady Lanes a lot. So I said it was called Shady Lanes. Maybe I hope this isn't too insensitive a joke. I think I have with some of your bands an agnosia of remembering what their dates are.
Okay.
So no matter how many times you give them to me, when they come up in the next game, I will look at it and go, why don't I remember what years? Surely by now I must have, but I don't. So I've said 1992, because the 90s at least I think is a valid guess. Slacker rock, favourite lyricism, because I know you talk about how much you like the writing. So,
yeah. 4 points. Well done.
Thank you.
I mean, you're not wrong with the dates here. This is sort of that would be like early Pavement.
Okay.
What I've given you here is a later Pavement track off of an album. I didn't get to talk about last game that got deleted.
Yes.
The track is called Shady Lane.
Okay.
It is slacker rock, as you said. Still sort of in the end of their sort of slacker rock years, this album, I feel.
Mm.
Their last one isn't. It's still sort of slackery, but I don't know.
Sure.
97 is when this came out, so you're just in with the year.
I've scraped that.
And this was a song that's similar thematically to one of our own.
Interesting. That was one I was fighting with for a long time.
This was one that I proffered because I thought it could be an interesting one. And it's not one I've written for Idiot Twin because, more technically, I haven't written any that are out yet.
Not released, I suppose. Well, the lyrics you haven't written.
No. And that's sort of where I was going with this track. So, with this theme, this category. So the track it is similar to is a song I wrote for my uni dissertation.
Oh.
Called Island with the Castle.
Yeah.
And that track was...
And that girl.
Sort of... He remembers it. So maybe,
I think that was my favourite off of it.
Okay, cool, yeah. Yeah, my mum's got it as a ringtone and it makes me cringe every time I hear it. Because I'm like, turn it off. Now, the theme of that track was sort of to be about, I don't know, like a place of solace, a place of comfort where you can get away from all the scary things in the world. And this track, Shady Lane, is basically that. It's writing about
that
basically the
makes a lot
exact
of sense
same
now
thing.
that you've said that.
Yeah. So that's where I was going with this category. Now, Stephen Malkmus does it a lot better than I do. I love his lyricism on this track. I don't really understand the line, "You've been chosen as an extra in the movie adaptation."
Of the something.
In the sequel of the movie adaptation. No, of the movie adaptation of the sequel to your life. You've been chosen as an extra to the movie adaptation of the sequel to your life.
Gets a bit confusing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't get my head around that. It's a cool lyric, but I can't get my head around it. And then the chorus is, Shady Lane, everybody wants one. Shady Lane, everybody needs one. And it's not my favourite lyric, but I'd like to mention it anyway. I like the bit that goes, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, oh your God, oh his God, oh her God. It's everybody's God, it's everybody's God. The world collides, but all that we want is a shady lane." It feels like he's sort of talking about religion being a thing, being a shady lane to people.
Yes, I completely agree.
It can be a place of comfort. And then he says the worlds collide, which is sort of to say like, well, this is what's actually ended up happening because of religion, is people have butted heads with people, but all that we want is a shady lane.
Yeah.
It's nice lyrics, and I
agree.
I think with my track, I wasn't really making it feel like how it sounded. And I suppose you might say Pavement weren't either, but I do feel like the riff in this track and just the way it sounds, it does feel a little bit sort of dejected, not really depressed, but it's sort of like, I mean, there's quite a lot of Pavement tracks surrounding it that are quite fast and upbeat. Stereo, the first track on this album, is like that, and then you get this, which is more sort of not introspective because it's not slow and sort of light, but it's, as I say, it's got an air of depression and melancholy about it, which I think is nice. And I love Pavement.
He loves Pavement.
What can I say?
He got all those lyrics spot on. He loves Pavement.
So yeah, you got 4 points.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What I will say.
No, I think it was a light bulb moment. Obviously, I've only listened to 30 seconds of this track. When you said, "Yeah, it's the same thing," I was like, "That makes so much sense." Yeah, it's nice when you have that understanding moment.
Yeah, it's cool when you find a song that's doing the same thing as you. I mean, I guess, if you write a love song, you could pick quite a few because there's quite a lot. So it's nice when you find one that feels a bit more niche and is the same sort of idea as yours. So that's cool. You're number 2. Now, this will probably be a theme in this that I just couldn't think of anyone to put down, so I've ended up putting people who I just presume it might be.
Sure, okay.
That hasn't helped with the categories either. A few of yours felt like they could be video game music, but at the same time maybe not. So I just ended up guessing an artist I know you like, Nala Sinefra. I know she had a new album out last year, so I thought maybe it might be to do with that. Maybe I guess it was called Bells though, because there were some bells in it. Ambient, sort of running my luck there with that genre term. I think 2021, because if it is a new one, then that would put me just in the range. And then I think it was at this point where I was just sort of placing categories at random. So I said that this was something that relates to a key musical moment of yours. So I didn't really understand what that meant. So maybe when we get to it, I'll understand it a bit more. But yeah.
2 points.
Oh, sick. 2 more than my last one.
Stop it. No, I think I've been quite cruel to give you back-to-back instrumentals to open this one. But obviously I've chosen because I wanted to talk about them.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I realised doing this I should have chosen another thing released by this gentleman.
Disappointing. The biggest disappointment.
Isn't it always? Happy Valentine's. Because there was something I wanted to say about that, because you mentioned something recently to me and I thought that would be interesting, but here we are. This is Mr. Adam Bosarge.
Oh, cool. Your mate.
I have met him. I have met him.
What, in real life?
I interviewed him.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool, so your mate.
Bend Toward the Light is what it's called. It's the last track off of the Structures Without Rooms album. 2023. Post-minimalism, which I like as a genre, but ambient very much so as well. This is a peculiar discovery method. That being, I wanted an opportunity in this game, if I'm thinking about all the music I encountered in 2024, to give yet another shout out to the YouTube algorithm. Because I think that is a peculiar discovery method. I think that's valid. I haven't gone out of my way to look for this stuff. It just shows up and I go, that album cover's cool. In this case, the album cover's really cool. I'll give it a listen. It's one of my favourite instrumental albums of all time. So, you know, it's so good, man. And then you actually talk to the guy and he's so bemused about the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I just made an album. I don't know why everyone's listening to it. I've been blessed by it being recommended to everyone.
A humble way of talking about your own music as well.
He was really humble. He was just very much just like, you know, I get up, I walk to my local coffee place. I get a coffee because he's American. I
get a coffee.
I come back. I sit down.
I write
some music, and then I get on with like his job or whatever. And it's just like he was just so normal. He was just so normal. Yet he's made this insane album. I don't think he knows how great it is, kind of thing. It's so good. YouTube algorithm, I love you. Please never stop recommending me things. You are so useful. And as someone who just doesn't use Spotify at all, because I do not want to pay for Spotify.
Don't blame you.
I think the YouTube slander has to stop. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good. You get an advert here and there, whatever. You know, if you stumble across a randomly recommended album that's a full length thing, you won't get adverts probably. You'll just get, because it's just some random Japanese ambient album from the 80s that hasn't got adverts in it. It's just 40 minutes of bliss. Thank you, YouTube algorithm. Have a nice week. I'll see you soon. The other release I could have used is, I think, it's like a 120-minute movement called Familiar Shores. I think is what it is, Familiar Shores. I could be wrong there, but I think that's what it's called. And the reason why I wanted to, I regret not using that, is because in the interview I did with that magazine, which you can read, he told me that he tried to line it up to Kiki's Delivery Service. Oh yes, which you mentioned to me recently. And when you did, my ears lit up. And I just went, I remember him telling me this. And so I'm a bit disappointed I didn't use it here. And I haven't actually seen the film. But he was making all these references in the interviews where he was going, like, you know, this is the bit where she's on the train and all of this. And I just kind of went, ha, yeah. But maybe I now need to watch it, and then I'll watch it with that, and I'll try and line them up.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Adam Bosarge, you're a cool guy. You make cool music. YouTube algorithm, you are a saint.
Cool.
2 points for you.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's one of my favourite animes. Kiki's Delivery Service. Not that I've watched many, but it is good.
Is it Studio?
Yeah, Studio Ghibli. Yeah.
Ghibli.
It was one of the 80s ones. It was quite an old one.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Okay, so I didn't know who this was. And so I sent a name that I think could fit. It sounded somewhat new, so I've gone for someone somewhat modern. In John Batiste, is that his name? I think he's a soul singer.
Okay.
I don't understand anything he's ever done. The piano in my mother's home is one thing that the person said. 2022, I said soul. And this is, like you said with some of the categories, it's just, I did not know where to put Depreciation. I really didn't know where to put it. So I put it here. So I don't know why.
Cool. Well, it served you well.
Shut up.
You got 2 points.
I got that bit right.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It is an album that depreciated. This is Sampha.
Sampha, yeah.
The song is No One Knows Me, within brackets, and then outside of the brackets, Like the Piano. R&B pop. I'll give you soul, that's fine. 2017. This is off of his album Process.
Okay. Is that the one with just his face?
Yeah, it's his face, and it's like a mirror image of his face.
Yeah.
So this was one that I liked. I think I liked quite a bit when it first came out. I think I wanted to use it for this category, because it is the album that's depreciated the most. It's towards the bottom of my sub-topster now.
Where was it before?
It was quite high on my topster at one point.
Okay.
And I think it's more because it speaks to more of a comment on my topsters and just sort of, I guess, general understanding and listening to music. I think I was quite prone to, when I was listening to things, confusing how much I liked them with how much I respect the artistry.
Okay.
How much
that makes sense.
I was just sort of fascinated by it. And I remember listening to this album and thinking, it's really cool, it's going in a lot of different directions, and the production's really cool, and I think it shows that he's someone who clearly has a lot of inspirations and is taking from a lot of different music. And the music itself I didn't mind, but I never felt like I really liked it. Like I was never sitting there going, oh yeah, I'm really eager to listen to Process by Sampha, which is again, it's not to say I think it's bad. I've just said that I heavily respect the artistry of it. It's just not one that I've liked, and I think it's taken me quite a while to distinguish the two things, because I think there are probably quite a lot of things on my topster which I was looking at and going, do I actually, now that quite a few years have passed, do I actually like this album as much as I thought I did? There's somewhere those two things go hand in hand. I'd say Introducing is a great example of that for me. I respect the artistry heavily, and I also love the music.
The album, yeah. It's difficult to not respect the artistry of that.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's always why I'm very confused about music reviewing, because it feels like, I think most people review the artistry of it, which then feels weird, because if I were to review a piece of music, I would feel like I wouldn't know if I were to review it from an artistic point of view what I think it is as art, or if I was to talk about how much I like it and what it does for me. I presume more people do the former. But yeah, no, I mean, I do think it's a nice song. It's a nice piano riff. It's very beautiful. He's got a very nice voice.
Yeah, it's a pretty song. Yeah,
he had an album come out in 2023, I think.
He did,
which I still haven't listened to, which I need to do. So yeah, that's my little chat about Depreciation, which is the sister album to Disintegration.
There you go. Yes.
I can't remember what that album was called then. Anyways,
no, I think you make a good point though. I think a lot of times when I think I've become quite disillusioned with music reviewing generally. Certain flannel wearing reviewers, for example, I think they take such they claim, or they act like they take such an objective position, to the point that when someone else offers an opinion, it's kind of like, no, but you don't understand the artistry of this is amazing. You have to like it. Like, no, I don't. Or when you go, oh, but this is their worst album, it's so poorly made. I like how it sounds. What if it's my favourite of theirs? I think it's very easy to be blindsided by this stuff. Dad's very good at ignoring it because he gets these music magazines. And for instance, like the one he has, for example, always got to know about how great Bob Dylan is. But he just, you can... Please don't send hate mail to my father. He's a nice man. But he's never got the Bob Dylan thing. He's never got it. He likes him, but he doesn't think he's, this miracle worker that people claim he is. And that's good because you can look at that and not go, oh, hang on, wait. These guys said he's an amazing lyricist, therefore I must think he's God. And, so stuff is, when you look at it again, you're allowed to suddenly go, oh no, it's really well made, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I think things like media hasn't helped with that, because now that you try and grow a thing, I think people are more likely to watch a video of you telling someone that their opinion is wrong.
Exactly.
Because it's funnier.
It's funnier, it gets more views, but it's not really constructive. Doesn't really add anything.
Yeah. And it's only funny to a certain group of people as well.
Exactly. Like if you had the opinion that's being slated, you're kind of just sat there going, "Oh, well,
yeah,
that's nice, thanks."
But yeah, your third one. Didn't know the artist. I know I put in Spoon as just a random name that I know you like.
I love Spoon, man.
I don't think it's Spoon. It didn't.
Daniel, I love you.
Sounded more British than a Texan, but.
I forget that's where they're from.
It said it was called A Little More Time. Art rock, sort of indie-ish. 2008, random year. And this has already gone, so it's obviously not this, but I guess it was a peculiar discovery.
I'll give you a point for the genre.
Cheers, thank you.
So, here we go. This is one of the ones where I need to limit my time because I don't want to go off on one. So, this was the song Ballad of the Dying Man by Father John Misty from the album Pure Comedy.
Yes.
Released in 2017. I put folk rock, but art rock is I don't know why, it's one of my favourite genre descriptors and I just forgot to put it down. I think it's very valid.
Okay.
And this is probably the biggest disappointment of my listening last year, because I got to him on my list and I thought, well, you got to start with Pure Comedy, surely. I did, and I never went back. I haven't listened to any more.
That's a shame.
I love folk rock. I love
Helplessness
art rock.
Blues.
Oh, what an album! I mean, even kind of like the Grizzly Bear sound. I love that sort of raw acoustic soul backbone to an album, which this has. I take lyrics quite seriously. I think that what he's trying to do is he's trying to make this album that kind of picks apart all of the foibles of mankind, all of its issues, all of its weaknesses. And I guess he's playing a bit of a character of this omniscient narrator that can look outside of it.
Okay.
And the human race is the pure comedy. Our existence is the pure comedy because of all the mistakes we make. Go, oh, that was bad, and then do the same mistakes again. It's about climate change, and it's about politics, and it's about war, and it's about vanity, and all of this stuff. Fear of death, all of this. But to be honest with you, the simplest way I can put this was, for me, he just came across as painfully arrogant. And maybe he is playing a character, but I found it difficult to listen to, not because it was bad, like musically, but because I found it really annoying. I found it really annoying. It wound me up because he just kept talking, and it's just like, who put you in charge is what I felt listening to it. What gave you the right to kind of call everyone stupid? And he's probably talking about himself as well. Maybe I'm overlooking that. But I don't know. It just feels like he's taken such an exalted position in making this. And then I guess it comes back to my disillusionment with reviewing as well. Because all I see is people going, God, what a genius record. You know, the way he's able to dissect the human condition and everything. It's like, I think other people do it better. I think other people do it without a smug grin as well. The whole time I just imagined him sat there going, look what I've written. I look, I don't want to come across as nasty, and I don't want to say something that's just unfair, but I just didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever had a listen that's annoyed me before, to be honest with you, and this is one.
That's interesting.
Which is a shame. And I, as always, I'd very much invite someone to say, including you, that I've got it wrong, or that, I actually in fact quite enjoyed it and this is why. But for me, I don't want to go back to it. I wasn't looking forward. This is the final thing I say, and it's a demonstration. I was not looking forward to recording an extract of this album because I knew I'd have to go through the songs and pick out a bit that I didn't mind. But I guess the music I don't mind at all. The actual music of it sounds good. It sounds fine. But yeah, it annoyed me.
That's
so
a
I'll
shame,
leave it there.
Well, it was one that I have been wanting to get to for
Please
a bit.
still do. Don't let me dissuade you.
Of course, yeah. It's just that it kept flipping my mind. It's not one that is, I guess, so colossally in your face that you remember to listen to it. So I probably will still get to it and try to proffer some sort of a rebuttal if I find that I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's interesting that you come to that conclusion. I think. I feel like a lot of songwriters generally, you feel like you can come to one of their songs and feel like they're taking a sort of pedestal sort of stand over what they're writing about, and it can come across in the wrong way.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I wrote poetry at university, and I was accused of being judgy on one of them. I can't remember which one. And I just hope that it wasn't in the same way as this. Like, this comes across as judgy at times. It's like, look at all the mistakes you've made. And I'm in a position where I can stand back and go, you're really stupid. Look at the mistakes you're making. Wake up. It's just like, I've never met you. I've never had a conversation with you, you know? I don't know. Anyway, let me stop being negative. I didn't know who your number 4 was. I didn't know. So I tried to make a valid guess. I hope it's a valid guess. Oh, it could be them. Let's see. I put The Wire.
The Wire.
Is that a thing? The Wire?
Wire.
Just Wire. Yeah, that's who I mean. Just Wire. Just Wire. It's still probably wrong. Unlock My Mind, 1978. I think I was just in the dark with this one almost entirely. I said punk/alt rock, which is such a catch-all. Recommendation. Maybe someone recommended this to you. Yeah,
you get a point.
I'll take a point, to be honest. I think it's one of my worst answers to this game.
This might be the them you were thinking of. It is the band I continue to... that continued to be elusive to you. It's Guided by Voices.
No, it wasn't actually. No, it wasn't. The other them I thought was, what if it's the Cars? But,
okay. No, it's deceiving because they don't. Guided by Voices don't record in a way that it's very evident when it was recorded.
Yes.
And so that can widen the pool when it comes to guessing who it is, I suppose. The track is called I Am a Scientist.
No, you're not. You're a musician, you silly Billy.
Robert Pollard might be. I think he was a teacher for a bit.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Maybe not a chemistry teacher, but Slacker Rock. Maybe I just love Slacker Rock.
Maybe this is your sound, man.
Might be my
Maybe
sound.
This is it.
1994 is when it came out. It's off of their album B1000, and I put this down as the album I was surprised I liked as much as I did. And I mainly mean that in terms of, I wasn't expecting not to like it, but what I'd listened to of Guided by Voices before was Alien Lanes, and I'd quite liked Alien Lanes. I thought it was quite good. But at the same time, there were quite a lot of tracks on that I thought I just wasn't too keen on.
Okay.
And so after quite a while, I got to B1000 and was sort of not expecting to like it as much. I'd garnered the idea that Alien Lanes was their most sort of regarded one, as in it was their most acclaimed. which I need to realise I need to stop doing, because that means nothing when it comes to me liking it or not. And I listened to it, and immediately I was like, this might be better than Alien Lanes for me. I might like it more. And it's gotten to the point where it's now comfortably within my top tier, and Alien Lanes is still sort of trying to get on there. Just the more I've listened to it, the more I've loved each track. I mean, there's quite a lot of tracks on there, so I'll be eager to show you some more. And
they will all catch me out, every single one.
It's just something about their sound that I like. It's sort of enchanting, and it's quite different. The only thing I can say is just, give their stuff a listen. It's not stuff which I feel I can really... Like, it feels like it's not massively unique music, but at the same time I can't tell you different bands that I feel are quite like.
Sure.
Guided by Voices. They're good.
They're good.
Shout out to them. You get a point.
1 point I will take graciously. Guided by Voices, my main ops for a long time now. Not in terms of music, just in terms of I could never pick them out in a crowd, I'll put it like that.
Okay. You're number 4, I do believe. This was like a pop female singer. And so this was the one that I thought I had a good answer to.
Okay. But you think now you want to change it?
No. So that's for a different one.
This is the thing that you think that you said. Oh, you're really happy with one of them.
Yeah, I think this could be a very good guess.
Cool.
Quite a lot of female pop singers, popular ones. So I tried to think who it was.
There certainly are.
And I guessed one that I think has been very popular this year. And at the same time, I heard another one of her songs, and her voice reminded me of the voice here. So I thought it might be this person. I guess Chappell Roan. Hot to Go, because it felt very clear that was the title of the song, in that she was spelling it out quite often. I put synth pop because it felt like something I'd hear in the 80s and go, it's synth pop, so I'd put that. 2021 just because it's recent, innit?
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't think you had this yet. I thought it might have been something that was recommended to you, because I can't imagine you going out of your way to listen to this this kind of pop music. So that is my answer.
Right, let me very quickly check something.
I will wait with this must be what people feel like when they're waiting to take a penalty.
No, the whistle hasn't blown yet. No, you're on the edge of your seat. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that donut is a thing of the past, Chris. You got 5 points.
Oh,
congratulations!
Yes.
Congratulations!
Wow.
This is. I think there is an ongoing joke about how do you pronounce her name. I want to say it's Chappell Roan.
Chappell Roan. Okay.
I think
Chappell just messed both
Dave
names
Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan. This is HOTTOG. This is Hot to Go.
Hot to Go. Yeah.
2023. I put dance pop, synth pop. Take it and
Cheers,
run.
Thank you.
And this is a recommendation.
By, can I guess, your sister?
No.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, as you know, I've had a bit of a convoluted, complicated year with female pop musicians. Some I don't mind. Others I
wouldn't touch with a 10-foot
I
pole.
would not touch with a 10-foot barge pole. Yes, you're right. And I'll leave it there. We won't name names.
Okay.
I almost did and this is a forbidden name to mention on the podcast now due to his recent antics. I almost did a Kanye West moment where there's that clip of him going, I was misdiagnosed by a doctor, I won't say what kind. And then he immediately... So I almost did I'm not going to name names. And then I just said it. But this was my girlfriend, my partner.
Oh, okay.
She knows how much I dislike that musician in particular. And she is herself aware of, she thinks she's a bad musician basically, but she's listened to the album and she finds some of it funny and some of it catchy. And I think she knows it winds me up, so she would keep playing it. But then she seriously went, oh, but have you tried, because I've listened to this album I can't remember the name of her big album, Chappell Roan. But and the way she put it was, and I don't know if I agree with this take, but I kind of see why she says it, and probably some people would agree with it. She reminds her of Kate Bush.
Okay.
And I kind of get it because she's very artsy,
Yeah,
and maybe
more the artsy look.
At some points vocally there are slight similarities, but lyrically not at all. Lyrically I still struggle with some of Chappell Roan's stuff to the point that this is probably the only song I like.
Okay.
But I think it's a lot of fun, man. It's one of those that first time I listened to it, I just like, I don't want to like this. But now, unashamed, I think it's cool. I think it's a cool song. I can look beyond the bit of, baby, do you like this beat? I wrote it so you'd sleep with me. I can look beyond that.
That's quite funny.
In this one, it's funny. But then when you get certain songs that are like just that lyrical content, I start to go,
fair enough.
Okay. I just think it's a big club banger, man. And I don't know what else to say. It's just a big club banger. And I think one thing that we must continue to leave behind, not just in 2024, but in every year it's ever come up, is the phrase guilty pleasure. There should be no guilt in enjoying something unless it's a crime. And this isn't a crime.
Yeah.
It's a good song. I like it. HOTTOGO, snap and crack and tuck and roll, something body roll. Now you're hot to go. HOT. Yeah, it's fun. I've run out of things to say. Thank you for recommending it to me. You know who you are.
Cool.
Big 5 points, Chris. You're back in the game.
I've the only Chappell Roan song I've heard is Pink Pony Club.
Yeah,
so I saw. Yeah, it's not really
it's
really
pop,
for me.
Isn't it? It's pop.
Yeah, but I did see a video, and I'm not sure if you saw the MGMT version of this.
Oh,
but it was a video someone had done where they'd taken the video of her performing it to very few people.
Okay.
Quite a few years ago. And then sort of having that fade into her at a big concert, doing it to loads of people.
That's amazing.
And I think a similar person's done it to an MGMT performance of when they did Kids at their university or college campus.
Yeah, in like some open field somewhere, behind one of the accommodation blocks.
And then it goes to them performing at Glastonbury or something, and it's cool.
Look, she has worked hard. Chappell Roan, I know that she's been around for longer than you think. Let it be known that all your musicians started small somewhere, all your favourites.
Of course, yeah.
So back Idio Twin. We'll get there one day, and everyone wants to say that they were there at the start. You two do. You do too. So get on it.
I respect their calling out music subscription
massively.
services as well when she won. Did she win a Grammy?
She did.
Yeah, when she won a Grammy, yeah.
Breakout artist, maybe?
That was Based. I think so, yeah. Based. Anyways.
Maybe I just think, look, I like one of her songs. She's cool. Maybe I like her apart from all the other songs. I don't know. Sorry, it's me answering, isn't it? Yes, so this is your number 5. Again, didn't really know where to go, but I tried to use the logic and what you've recently done to the best of my ability. I think this was Mr. Cameron Spring.
I see what you did there.
Cameron Winter, I think, because it sounded like there was a bit of a gruff vocal in there somewhere, amidst some very nice harmony stuff going on, actually. $0 Man, aren't we all in this economy? 2024. I think alt country counts. We'll see. I'm happy.
Hearing a stunning lack of acoustic guitars, but yeah.
Oh no, you're happy to call me. It's fine. And it was released in 2024, and you've already proselytized about how much you love the album. So I said, favorite 2024 album.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will give you 4 points.
Excellent, thank you.
And you can decide whether I've given you 1 whole point for the title or half a point and share that with the genre.
Okay, no, either way is fair, probably. Either way is fair.
It was by Cameron Winter. It's $0 spelt with a $ and a 0. I put indie folk or chamber pop. It's what it feels more like to me. Again, I feel like, of course, there'd be piano in alt country, but I feel like if it's not like acoustic guitar laid, I don't know, something about that.
Where's the slide guitar?
Something about that doesn't sing country to me. I don't know, but debate with your keyboard. 2024 is when it came out, because it was my favourite album released last year.
Congratulations, Cameron.
I was in between this one and the Clara album Charm.
Interesting.
Because
you said that. Interesting.
I had that in front of the Cameron Winter album on my Topster. But I've come to the conclusion that I prefer the Cameron Winter one just because I've listened to it more and it's grown on me more. And the highs of this album are higher than the highs of Charm as well. Even though at one point probably would have said that I liked Charm overall more. But yeah, no, I did get the chance to talk about Cameron Winter last time, but we lost the recording.
It was vanquished, yes.
I will get the chance to talk about him now. Geese is the band he's out of, and he released a debut album last year. Went under the radar for a lot of people because it came out towards the end of the year, so it didn't end up on a lot of people's end of year lists.
I don't know how well it was marketed, but
it was. He marketed it fairly well, but I think because Geese have a decent following, but I guess because it's just him, I guess it's going to be. It's getting a lot more traction now, which is nice.
Of course, and it's all because you've spoken about it.
Amen. Am I right?
Men.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's.
And yeah, all I've got to say is it's a good album.
Okay, moving on.
This was the first song that hit me on the album. It's that lyric towards the end of the extract that I gave you. You make me feel like $1 in your hand. You make me feel like a $0 man. I thought was quite nice. And just, I mean, it's like a 6-minute track. It's a journey of a track.
I love a journey.
You might say.
I love a journey.
It goes between these two sections where you've got the piano riff, which I think is really beautiful. With him singing over. The second time it comes back, it's a lot more lush. There's a lot more instruments, and he's more sort of riffing over it. And then you get the B sort of section, which is the refrain, which you could hear here, is very sort of free. In terms of time. And that's something I think Cameron does in a couple of these tracks, and it's really nice and refreshing when it happens. I'm glad it's something that you've done on a few of the Idio Twin tracks, because
thank you.
We need to get out of that grid, man. We need to get out of the matrix. We need to go off the grid.
I know what helps it with us is I think we're both quite comfortable and quite enjoy having a grounding in 20th century classical, where you'll get a lot of sheet music and you'll go, oh, this looks, there's no time signature, there are no bar lines, it just keeps going. And once you've accepted that, you're quite content to write a song that just doesn't count. You're quite happy to do it.
Yeah. So you get two of those sections, and then you get this funny section where, now I think Cameron Winter is a man of faith, which makes the Amen feel more eloquent now. But he has this sort of epiphany, this sort of burst of energy where he just says God is real, and he can't stop saying God is real. And he intersperses that with him saying, I'm not kidding this time. I wouldn't joke about this. Bearing in mind he's still in his very sort of like deep, sort of, boisterously big sort of voice singing it. He's not like,
I shouldn't laugh, but
really
without
weird.
context,
I think the point is meant to be more humorous than sort of like, super deep. You know,
it's not actually a spiritual awakening.
He feels so much like a $0 man that he's discovered God.
Yes,
and it's so deep. I don't think it's meant to be like that.
I've just watched a man convert, and you're laughing.
Yeah, it strikes me throughout this album, Cameron's got a really good sense of humour, and he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah, as you should.
Hence the line on the first track, like Brian Jones, I was born to swim.
Yes,
I mean that is.
Do your own research.
That's crazy. And yeah, so you have that, and then it sort of drops out for a second, and then you have the main piano riff come back in. But this time, the bass notes have been changed. So normally it'd be 1 and 4, but now it does like it goes in like a circle of fifths, basically.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
And it sounds even more beautiful than it was, and that goes on. You get some weird sounds, and it's beautiful. It's I have no word to describe it other than beautiful, and I think it's very eloquent that this goes into a track called Can't Keep Anything, which is related to the David Bowie track, I Can't Give Everything Away.
We're entering tear territory here, man. Oh.
And I think Cameron's track is sort of about, well, his faith, him acknowledging he's a Christian. He sort of says, I see where you're going. But where I'm going, there's nothing you can keep. But at the same time, I can't give everything away. It's sort of what he says. I think it's a nice way to end it. Good album.
Evidently,
Maybe I'll talk about it more. He's a talented songwriter. Hopefully got a big future ahead of him. Looking forward to working my way through some of Geese's albums.
People would say looking forward to working with Cameron. Like, who knows?
Well, next album, maybe. But yeah, there you go. You get 4 points. I think.
Thank you very much. You've put it in my head now, man. What a song! I can't give everything.
That's for your last song as well. Is
but what a statement lyrically as well. It's such a punch to the jaw. You know, it's a knockout blow, and you are just left going. Yeah, but what you gave us was enough. Thank you. Anyway,
exactly.
This isn't David Bowie. We haven't got any David Bowie in this game, but he lives forever. So
you're number 5.
Number 5.
Another one I couldn't quite pinpoint. It felt like, again, it could be video game, film music. It felt slightly similar to an artist you used in the last game, who I remember you mispronouncing in quite a funny way.
Oh, yeah.
It's either One O Tricks Point Never or Oh No Tricks Point Never. I think some people debate about. I've always thought it's One O Tricks,
but it's not Onio Tricks.
It's not Onio Tricks. That's the one thing it isn't. I said it was called 84 Daydreaming. Chiptune / electronic. It had like a square wave plucked synth. That counts for chiptune apparently in my head. 2013, I said this might have been a vivid listening experience.
I'm gonna give you a point for the genre.
Tough.
But we're not going to dwell on it because you're going to look at the genres I've put and you're going to go, oh, that's a bit weak, but we're not going to talk about it. I want you to have the point.
Thank you.
Who's the GOAT, Chris?
Hiroshi Yoshimura.
Yeah, he is. Come on.
That makes so much sense. Actually.
I had to. I had to put in artists that dominated your listening, and it had to be either the Beach Boys or Hiroshi Yoshimura. I had to have them feature.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dwell too much on it because I've said so much about Hiroshi Yoshimura anyway. But I think I've only ever encountered the feeling I have with him with Peter Gabriel, of where there was that dry period where I knew Peter Gabriel was living in wherever he lives in Kent or whatever, just not releasing music, and it was driving me mental. And then he released IO, which was, oh my God. But in that dry period, it was like, that longing of please make new music. But it's made even worse when you know the person can't make any more music because they're not here. I've never felt that feeling specifically with an artist who isn't here so much as with Yoshimura.
Okay.
Like, I sometimes go onto the Rate Your Music page for him just to check there isn't something I've missed, because every single release is of value. Every single release is something different, but it's all beautiful. Some you're going to like more than others, evidently. This is off Flora, which is my third favourite of his. This is called Over the Clover. It's the opening track. It's part of that debate we've had before, which is why I've given 2 years. Released in 2006, but it's archival. So all of the stuff was made in 87. I put ambient minimalism, new age. This is an artist who dominated my listening. Flora is, I don't think it's as consistent as something like Wetland or Green or Softwave. Sorry, it's my fourth favourite release, not third. I forgot about Softwave. How rude of me. But it's still just so calming. And it's like, I don't know how he managed to find the perfect shade of pink for the album cover as well. It's so soothing, man. Maple Syrup Factory is the best thing on this album by a long way. It's so good. but this is a banger of an opener as well. It's just, to miss someone you've never met is mental, right? I would have loved to have just one conversation to learn, but also to go thank you, because you find these pieces of art throughout your life that will stay with you for the rest of it, and that is so rare but so special. And to have like 3 or 4 different albums, 5 maybe, from one guy who I can talk like that about. I love him. Yeah. And he is, we've said it before, it's, we're not going to kill ourselves listening to every single album by a musician that we're not that fond of. We might do the big ones and then go, I've done enough. But when it is an artist that you haven't heard anything better that year, of course you want to do everything. And I've done everything of his, and it's all good. And will I use him in future games? Of course, because I won't be able to help myself. So will I talk about how good he is again? Of course. So I'll leave it there, and I'll say 1 point.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so we've done 5 each. In German, we'd call this the Mittagspause, which is, I think, actually lunch. But I don't know why I said that. Anyway, first half done. End transmission.